What are your icks?
You know, like when your guy is with his boys and he's like the side man of the group.
I don't like guys who just constantly talk about themselves. Like, oh my gosh, it's so cringe.
Hi, I'm Tonya Mack, director, filmmaker and storyteller. Amongst my peers, the narratives around dating have felt really toxic and negative of late. So I wanted to create a space to have fun, honest and grounded conversations. It's time to change the story. This is Dating Black.
It's so love, it's so love, it's so love, it's so love. It's so love, it's so love, it's so love. It's so love, it's so love, it's so love.
So, what do you guys think about dating apps? What are your thoughts on those?
Listen, I'm all for dating apps, you know.
Really?
Yeah, like I think it's important. And the reason why I say it's important because like, I think it's important to experience lots of different ways to date, like whether that be through friends, mutual friends, whether that be just your circle of friends, whether that be online dating.
I think they're fine, honestly. Yeah, I really think they're fine. Like, realistically, you're gonna get, like, older people that are still single. Like, I actually personally know, like, 40 / going on 50-year-olds that are still single that do actually need dating apps because they're not as confident to go out and approach someone because if you're older, so I'm just focused on the older side, it actually matters. If you're older, you're not going to know if someone is already married or has kids or might not be exactly what you want for your age.
Really? Unless you're a certain character, and even like
character?
my friends who are like, I would say ideal characters for dating apps still struggle. I think you need to be very strong, and I think you need to have like the mentality of, I can date you and it won't work, or I can date you and it won't work. I think if you go into it thinking the first person I match with and have a conversation with, we have to end up, and it's like, it's supposed to be an experience.
I met my partner on a dating app. He always says that he's gonna tell our kids that he's gonna tell them a completely different made up story.
You guys need to get your story straight then. You need
it's
to work
true,
on it.
yeah.
I think they can be good. It just kind of depends on like how you are. Like for me personally, it didn't really work because I'm just quite lazy when it comes to like dating in general. Do you know what I mean? So I think because you have to put in the work, do you know what I mean? You have to show you're interested, you have to respond to messages.
So during lockdown, I was considering, I downloaded the app, I filled in all the details and it got to the bit where you have to put in your picture. And I said, hell fuck no, man. For some people to be like, Hema, I saw you. And I think it's not like I think like I'm too known for this. However, it just felt like too exposed.
I just think it opens up a new perspective of you might have met someone you would have never crossed paths with. Do you get me? And I feel like, especially for me, where I'm going to the same events, I'm seeing the same people, I probably know the same crowd. Like, so the likelihood of me meeting different men is quite unlikely.
The boys in our group convo literally gassing us like, nah, just make one, there's black people in there. I was like, what?
I think that's what it was with the dating apps. When black people started getting on it, that's when people were on it. Do you know what I mean?
If I'm online and I use a dating app, then some Hispanic boy might pop me off. And I'm like, you get me? Like, okay, like, what's good?
He was like one of the first people that I started talking to. And then he asked for my number and I was like, no, because I'm like, just joining this dating app, I don't really know how things work. I thought it was a bit early. You gotta graft a little bit, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I said no, and then he was like, fine, and then he like just disappeared. I was talking to other guys, but the convo wasn't really
convoing.
It wasn't popping, do you know what I mean? And then I deleted it, and then I came back on it, and then he basically matched with me again. And then he's like, oh, I started talking. And then, like, when he wasn't, like, responding, I started feeling a bit like, oh, why is he airing me? I started feeling a little bit of a way about it, do you know what I mean? And then
you gave him your number.
I gave him my number, yeah.
What gives you the ick? Like what? Yeah. What are your icks?
You know, like when your guy is with his boys and he's like the side man of the group. So like, say for example, like one time, like there was like a bunch of guys and they all get into a car and they told, oh no, you get in the back. Not my man. Not my man. My man don't sit in the back.
Yeah.
Body odor, bad hygiene, breath, everything.
I don't like guys who just constantly talk about themselves. Like, oh my gosh, it's so cringe.
Like, no offense to men that sit in the back, do your thing. I'm just saying that, like, being the side man of the group, it just, like, I love respected guys, innit? And not saying that if you're in the back, you're disrespected, but if they tell you, nah, you sit in the back, just don't come and think you can chat to me when we get home. I run things in the house now.
Dirty nails.
Dirty nails, okay.
Yeah, if I see a man with that, I feel sick. Like, I can't do it.
Seeing the little crack, the bum crack, just a little bit.
You're being very petty.
Just a little bit. I don't mind seeing the whole thing, but just seeing the little bit, like, I don't like the builder's bum, I don't like that.
I always look at a guy's creps. Like, if your crep
makes
game,
sense.
like, if your crep game is, like, come on. But I think you can kind of tell, like, when he's just having a bad day.
There's guys who place all their value and their attention on just getting girls. I think that gives me the ick. Like, I don't like guys who, like, they do everything because of women. Like, they're making money because they want to impress women.
But I don't like guys who, like, adhere to, like, gender roles. So, like, oh, can you cook? Can you... So what you say, like, I don't do that.
So, do you guys have a forever love, like that person that you'll always love, even if you're not with them, but your heart is just, you know?
Forbid. What kind of bondage?
I feel like I'm always gonna love my boyfriend,
Okay.
even if, like, it doesn't work out.
So when you're married with someone else, you're still gonna love him.
I mean, like, I think love is, like...
Eternal.
This is, like, awkward, because do you see the way she just framed that question? Like, if you marry someone else, you're still gonna be... Ooh!
It seems like you have one because you're quiet.
Yes. No, I do, yeah. I would say so. Don't be looking at me like that.
Basically, my friend sent me a meme, like, a couple months ago that was like, your friend will say she hasn't got a man, but she'll have about 7 soul ties, yeah? And when she sent that to me, I was like proper triggered.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was proper triggered because I was thinking, do you know what? Like, with me, obviously I haven't been in a relationship in a long time, but there are men out there who I've dated and have really strong bonds and connections with.
I do have a forever love, and he is, you know RJ 3000, the prototype. I think that he is that, and so much about him I now need from a relationship that I get in the future. Not to say I compare him to every other guy, but there's just a standard, and there's such things I've enjoyed that I'm not gonna let go of, basically.
I look at it as more like, I would just always love you for like what we had and how great that was. And so because of that, I would want a love similar to that in certain ways.
I think love is a proper commitment, you know? Like, you can't, in my opinion, you can't say you love someone if there's no commitment attached. Like, there needs to be some sort of commitment there for you to say that you love someone.
I think yours is very different from most other people's, because that's why I said bondage, because a lot of times yours is actually quite positive.
Very.
It would be other situations where, like, the relationship was horrible. Like, he was horrible to you, but you're so
But you
attached.
still desire it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
why I said bondage, because that's not really like a...
Yeah.
Like, what you
I have a
really
lot more people
hold
have
on
this
to.
kind of experience. Though,
Yeah,
where
yours is a lot more, like...
I feel like, God forbid, like you would also have that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you guys date exclusively black?
Yeah.
For me, I will only date black men. Like, I wouldn't date outside of my race, and that might be a problem for some, but I would even say that I would rather date Nigerian men because I'm Nigerian, but I probably won't limit it. African men, that's my thing, basically.
You'll never know like how important dating black to you is until you don't date black. And I have tried to date outside my race before. The thing is, it's not going to be the same with every guy who isn't black. However, just the conversations that I would constantly need to have with him about certain things. Like, he'll say something and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, right, so let me explain to you about this. And he'll say something, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this every day. Do you know what I mean?
I just want to have, like, black kids, them to have black kids, and them to see that we can pass things and culture and wealth through our generation.
It's my preference. But the older I get, the more I'm not closed off. Even though most of my friends generally think that it's like a myth, the idea of it wouldn't work.
Even like the accents I do. Having to be like, oh, sorry, you won't get that, is a thing.
I've dated a Turkish guy before. I can't remember his name. It was weird. Like, we would walk down the street, we would be getting like stared at.
Wow.
And then it just went south and whatever. But he was gorgeous, to be honest with you.
I grew up in Camden, so like it's quite mixed anyway. So like I fancied bare different types of people.
Like, I also don't feel that, you know, just because you are black, you have to date black. And you know, you see it online and all that kind of stuff. And so to certain people, their blackness isn't so much of them. Do you know what I mean? And there's some people who are raised in, you know, multicultural areas that don't identify with their blackness like that and feel like they're kind of pressured. So for me, it's like there's no pressure for anyone to date black. You have to do what feels right for you.
What would you love to see change about the dating scene in the UK?
To be honest, I just want to see more Ravi. Whether it be we're looking at like sports stars, musicians, like we always look at like very like famous people to relationships. And if we're looking at like the disparities, they are quite big in terms of like just black couples or young black couples and stuff. So when you see it, it's kind of like, oh my gosh, that's so nice, because you know that you don't see it often.
I think more men need to go to like networking events and dating events. Like, you know, there's actually events out there, do you know what I mean? But it's usually the ratio, more girls to guys. Why don't guys go?
I want more confidence in women. Like, I want women to be more confident in like being able to like approach men and just approach life and like things and what they want and going after what they want. Being a lot more direct about what you want, being a lot more intentional. Like, have your list of things that you want, and do you know what I mean? Like, go after that. That's my thing. I don't feel like enough women are as direct as they should be.
Just for people to be more open. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of people have had like bad experiences and stuff. And I just feel like in order to like experience love, you have to actually be open. And you have to be open to the fact that this person that you're with could either be the love of your life or your biggest heartbreak, but you just have to take the risk.
I'd rather see such a plethora of different types of relationships that it doesn't come across as a surprise. Like, it's not like an anomaly, or it's not like, oh my gosh, like he's got a black girlfriend, can you believe it? It's just normal.
And also, like, men, I feel like need to just work on themselves a bit more, and not just by chatting to their mates, but actually like going to therapy and stuff and like talking through.
Having non-negotiables.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you can have your list, but just have like certain non-negotiables.
Because I've seen a lot of friends go against that.
Yeah,
and they'll be like,
why?
oh, but it doesn't matter. But then at the end of the road, it's like the biggest thing, and it really does matter. It's a waste of time.
It'll make it easier to actually like meet someone that won't break your heart. But I feel like when you're holding all these things in, you can never meet anyone. And ultimately, deep down inside, we all just want to love and be loved. Do you know what I mean? All of us, you know, and we just need to admit it and just try it out and see what happens. And I just think that only happens once you've been healed. And if you haven't been healed, it's just never going to happen. And you're just missing out on the other side of what could be really nice.
I think for me, like, honesty across the board. I think if men were more honest about what they wanted, relationship, hook up, good time, whatever, and women were more honest about relationship, good time, kind of seeing whoever, it would be a lot more like, people would get to where they wanted to go a lot quicker. And I don't necessarily mean like being like, oh, I'm dating 10 people, just being like, I'm dating right now, or I'm looking to settle down, or I just want to have fun.
What do you love about dating black men in the UK?
Sorry, I can't help these fucking reactions.
Nah, why are people... There's too much laughing and sniggering going on. I don't like it.
Did you know, no one has ever asked me that.
Mad.
I just love black people. So that in itself, I just think is a beautiful thing to be able to experience, like black love. Do you know what I mean?
The right black men in the UK, the mindset, the drive.
Dating black men, I think, is nice because of the culture aspects. Like, I love the fact you can connect with someone because they have the same kind of culture as you. Like, if you tell them a story, they can, like, kind of connect with you because they might have had a similar experience and stuff.
I will say this as someone who does love black men. When they are good, they are amazing. Like, the best of them really are really good. And that's why I've been able to have black men as friends. I actually don't need to half-ass it when it comes to relationships because I have black men who are friends who go above and beyond to show up for me, tell me like routinely that they believe in me, encourage me.
the fact that I can talk about things that were on Channel U and we both get it. We both grew up on the same freestyles. We both grew up, you know, just in the same kind of environment. So it's just so much that connects us.
It's the little things that remind me that black men at their best can actually be great. And as I say that as well as a woman with 2 brothers who are black men, you know, when they show up for you, it is pretty amazing.
My boyfriend now is Ghanaian, which is great because we're both Ghanaian. We both speak Tree together. It's so cute.
Wowee.
If people could see her friends' faces right now, we're just like...
I'm sorry, but it's cute. I'm sorry, it's cute. It is cute.
So that's what I was saying, the cultural connection.
I'm so happy that the love of my life is a Ghanaian man. I'm sorry, I love it.
We have a level of like relatability, like, because obviously, well, in my friendship group, they're like, oh, we need to go American man, like, that's where it's at, like, we joke about that, but actually I feel like there is like a lot of culture differences and so many things, even when we've gone abroad and like maybe to the Caribbean, it's like, it's just not the same, like, there's a level of like relatability and like alignment and vibe frequency that I feel like I get from guys in the UK, black guys in the UK, that I don't experience anywhere else.
So even when it comes to things like traditional weddings and just tradition and like respect, culture, like it's no wahala, you know?
Humour, like the same jokes, especially like if you're from South London, I'm from South London, it's like the South just lives within us.
I think black men are really funny. Like, generally, I think their comedies are matched. Like, when you're busting joke with them, it's literally like, rah. Laughter in bare different scenarios is such a good medicine. Do you know what I'm saying? If you're able to actually really laugh at that person, it's almost the best gift.
And then they bring you in on new things that you didn't know, and you take that to the next thing. Do you know what I mean? So you take the restaurant recommendation, now you take that to the new relationship and you're like, wow, they're like, wow, you're so cultured, and it's like, thanks.
If I can, I'm sticking with my Ghanaian king. Sorry. Why is
I can't wait till he sees this.
Some of them are very beautiful, so I can always appreciate a very beautiful, good-looking black man. So.
And I also think when they're their own personal best, not just from a transactional perspective because they're trying to date somebody or they're trying to put their best foot forward to impress you, when they're just genuinely trying to be their best selves, that in itself can be quite inspirational for you.
Yo. Can you follow on from that?
I don't care who gets offended. The dating acting is mad corny.
Yeah, like the way she cares about me in general.
What? Soft.
It is. It's the truth. Yeah, man said soft.
It's so love. 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 It's so love.